So, you guys remember how my channel got that channel strike? And then I wasn't able to upload for a week? And then I had a conversation with YouTube on Twitter about the channel strike. Well, I went ahead and escalated that and had a conversation with not only random YouTube person on Twitter, but a couple of YouTube representatives in private. And I've got the chat logs from those representatives, and we're going to discuss them now. There was a question posed on my last video about this. Don't you think YouTube's going to strike you for this? The answer is, I don't know, but I also think it's important to talk about the issues that YouTube is having, because these are not issues that only I am dealing with. This is not about me. Now that my strike is gone, I'm fairly certain I'm not going to get another strike again in the next 3 to 6 months, so I'm largely unaffected at this point. I had the 1 week of lost revenue, and that is painful, but that's not the end of the world for me. But I'm not the only creator on this platform, and there's plenty of people who are dealing with YouTube's tomfoolery just like I am. This one is from Kidderdoodle. Have a curse thing from the topic today. Cat girl Matt Powell. They transed my gender. The next one we have here is from Shady Shion. All models I've made Suris so far. So typically I don't tend to use models that have been submitted as fan art, which is why these haven't been actually utilized on the channel. But models as fan art is a unique and really cool way of doing fan art stuff. So we have this version right here, a very comfortable Suris. We have a Suris in Tifa's garb from Final Fantasy VII. And then, of course, the same garb, but as Slime Suris. And that is amazing. Thank you very much, Shady Shion, for those. The last one we have here is another one from Kidderdoodle. The conversation between me and Viced Rhino that got used as a thumbnail. But today's topic, gender. I really like this piece, especially because I like fan art of me and Viced Rhino doing stuff. Because I like doing tweets with him. It's great. That said, as always, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's get right into the video itself after you hit subscribe and the bell notification icon, and also check out Patreon. Okay, cool. So I decided to have a conversation with YouTube, and this conversation was had via mobile, so that will reflect in how it flows. The second conversation is had via PC. The first one was had when I was trying to get Thumper to a vet clinic, and then found out that nobody took rabbits, and the ones that did take rabbits were definitely not able to take him in time, because they had 2 weeks out. Long story short, and I hate that this is the way y'all are finding out about this, Thumper is no longer with us. He got an eye infection, and it took him within 24 hours. There was literally nothing we could do in that amount of time. We tried. We had him in the car, taking him to the vet, and no one would take him. That sucks, but that is the context for this conversation happening in mobile. So, that said, conversation begins. I join the conversation. My lovely interlocutor here says, "My name is Sige. How are you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing terribly great, but hopefully yours is going well. How can I help you?" I pointed out I had a channel strike. And I pointed out that I requested a timestamp for when where the information could be presented, because I had been given the runaround so often in the conversation on Twitter. Now, they said that, thank you for bringing this up. They just wanted to clarify, would you like to know the reason and timestamp of the community guidelines strike that you've received? Yes. I was told that I, gave medical misinformation on the video, and I would prefer knowing what misinformation I gave. Can you confirm the video URL? And here's a long version of me not being able to find it because I was on mobile. Found the video URL, and of course, for those who do not know, that goes to the video I did with Cooney that has been removed for violating YouTube's community guidelines. Can you send me the full screenshot of the email that you received? That screenshot I've already shown on the previous video about my channel strike, so this is not new information. So, they said, hey, would you mind if I place you on hold? I have to review my resources to help further. I found this is a thing that they always do. How's it going, Suzu? This is a thing that they always do. They said, I'm reviewing the video as well as the information we have for the community guideline strike, and here is what I found out. I have gone back and forth on your channel as well as the email, and it appears that we do not have specific information in regards to the timestamp you are requesting. What I can share instead is this Help Center article about the medical misinformation policy, so that you know what kinds of content are applicable. And of course, I've already gone over that document. In fact, I went over that document on the last video I did about said channel strike. So this is not new. They said, thank you for understanding, and I pointed out, this does not help me. I have reviewed the policies, and I hold that I have not violated them. It should be on YouTube to show where the misinformation happened. I can't just trust that I've done something wrong, and it's up to me to figure it out. They go, I understand where you're coming from, and we want to make sure that all the information is provided. In regards to the timestamp, we do not have access to view such information, since the content is being reviewed as a whole. We highly encourage you to go through your content and read through the Help Center article about the policy to know more about the information that is not allowed and considered as medical misinformation. You can also visit this link to learn more. And of course, there's the bit of the link. Certain types of misleading, deceptive content with serious risk of egregious harm are not allowed on YouTube. This contains a certain amount of misinformation that can cause real-world harm, like promoting harmful remedies or treatments, certain types of technically manipulated content, or content interfering with democratic processes. Anything else? And I said, well, that type of guidance wouldn't help an employee after a write-up or a child after a scolding. With no knowledge of what was said, am I just to blindly assume that anything I said in the video could potentially be misinfo? If the video has been reviewed, then there should have been a statement somewhere in the video that was categorically misinformation. To which they say, unfortunately, we cannot provide any advice on how you should create your content. I recommend you visit the exact same information about misinfo. I said if I gave misinfo, I didn't know it was misinfo. As such, reviewing my own video again will give me no extra insight. I've already reviewed the policy and hold that I've not violated it in the video. To which they said, I understand where you're coming from, which is why I suggest that you visit the links. Blah, 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 blah. Do you have any other questions? I asked for an emailed version of the transcript, pointed out we'd be talking in circles, and that was the end of that conversation. Not super productive. Stand2234, thank you very much for the follow. Not a very productive conversation. Not helpful in any way, shape, or form, and borderline identical to the conversation that we had on Twitter. Now, yes, Anubian points out that YouTube can identify the timestamp for when you violate copyright, so why can't they show the timestamp for when you violate misinformation? And I would like to know that as well, because again, there are people that are not just me who need to be able to have access to that kind of information. It would be incredibly helpful, don't you know? But let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, because there's more to see here. Unfortunately. Said Rachel Oates went through this when she made a video on anti-vaxxers. Her video is basically pro-vaccination and pro-science, and YouTube still removed her video. Yep. That's how it works. So let's continue. Ram has joined the conversation, and unfortunately, Ram is the incorrect waifu. Ram is better. Anyways. Hi, my name is Ram. I am definitely not the last person you talked to. How are you doing today? I said I could be better. I'm having a bit of a disagreement with YouTube about my channel at the moment. So, here's the video that was struck for medical misinfo. I've asked in the past if we could get the video looked at so that I could get a timestamp for when I gave misinfo. If I could figure out what misinfo actually happened. I've not received a timestamp or any clarification about what I did wrong, only assurances that you definitely did something wrong. Trust us. Note, this is 3 days apart. All things considered, I don't trust you, so I'd like to request an escalation for my case and a new review of the video, done by a human, specifically with information on what I did wrong, when and how, and what words were said that were wrong. They responded, I totally understand that you're having an issue about this issue regarding your video. I know how important this is to you. Don't worry, this is all customer service speak. Just to confirm, is this your channel? Yup. Thank you. To help better with this concern, I'll need to check on this matter. Could I place you on hold for 3 to 5 minutes? Well, yeah, I let the last person do that with me. Why not this one? Thank you for patiently holding. I appreciate your time and patience. For this one, can you give me at least 3 to 5 minutes for this? Sure, I can do that. Again? Can you send me a screenshot of the message that was sent by our internal team? Sent the image. I mean the email that was sent by our internal team to your email address. Sent that one as well. Please give me a few moments. Just to confirm, this is just a warning. No, it was a channel strike. Well, if it was a channel strike, you can process an appeal so that our internal team can review the video. Boy, howdy, gee willikers. Boy, I would love to submit an appeal. I wonder what happened the last time I submitted that appeal. Oh, wait. That appeal got rejected. Despite the fact that I submitted it, and now no further appeal is possible. You know what this tells me? They didn't look at the fucking video. Because if they looked at the video or the channel at all internally, they would see this right here. The rejected appeal. The information that is publicly available to them because they are YouTube. So, I said, well, I've already done that, as evidenced in the email I sent you, because I sent an email with a screenshot of the appeal. I've already followed up on that, as evidenced by the chat that I sent you. I am requesting to escalate the issue. Ram responds, did you already received a notification from our internal team about the appeal? Yup. Please hold. Upon checking, the enforcement action on your content has already been appealed in our community guidelines. We know this is disappointing news, but it is our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for everyone. I understand that you reviewed the content. As you've reviewed the content, it should be very easy to provide a timestamp that details when I gave misinfo in the video. Correct? I hate to tell you this, but if you reviewed my video, you know where I fucked up in the video. So by all means, please tell me where in the video I fucked up. That would be helpful info. We hope you take the time to review our community guidelines because the content violates our misinformation policies. We encourage you to review this policy closely. Well, I would assume that information would be on record. Otherwise, you could just take any video and strike it for any reason without being truthful. This is where I started to lose my patience. I know the guidelines. I repeat, give me a timestamp. I totally understand that, but at the moment we are not allowed to provide the timestamp where there's misinformation. To which I responded, so you can't show me in the video where I gave misinfo. How in the world is that policy? You can tell me I messed up, but not how, why, when, or where. You can give me no information in the slightest. How is that the policy? How does that not create a working environment that is incredibly hostile for creators? Well, on our end, we're not allowed to provide any information about the timestamp of the video. It's our internal team's job to review appeals from creators like you. I understand that, so my question is this. How would I go about getting that, then? The internal team reviews this, right? So then, how do I get in contact with the internal team? How do I do that? That very important evidence that I did indeed break the rules should be there, so allow me to learn how to not repeat this. Because at this point, I have no idea what I even said to trigger the review. I need direction. Ram responds, I totally understand, but unfortunately I cannot provide this type of information. Also, we don't have the specific information on our end. You need to relay to the information provided by our internal team. What information? This? Because this isn't fucking helpful. None of this is helpful. I've already relayed to that information, and nothing has helped. I said that information does nothing and gives me nothing. This is why I asked for an escalation and another review by someone higher up. Unfortunately, we cannot escalate this to our internal team, because the decision is final. Well, why is the decision final, and why can't I get information on it? So I said I just have to accept that no one, despite having watched the video, can identify where misinfo happened. Sadly, yes. That's where I said I think we're done here. I hope I was able to clear all your concerns and questions. Is there anything else? No. Thank you for contacting YouTube. Please take a moment to give us your feedback. So let's do this here. Extremely dissatisfied. Provide more relevant information. I was not satisfied because I was told I gave misinfo in a... Not missing, no. Jesus Christ. In a video. I was not told what kind, when it happened, or any information that could help me in any way whatsoever. The information provided was useless. I need information that is apparently exclusive to the internal team. Has the issue you contacted us about been resolved? No. So now we'll submit it. And we'll see what happens. Oh, don't worry. They at least didn't send us that one for this version of the conversation. Just this one. Which was weird. But anyways. The point is, YouTube is supposed to be a place where creators can create content. YouTube is also supposed to be a safe place where misinfo is not going to be spread amongst people. I believe that these two things can exist in harmony. However, the content creators are not omniscient. We do not always know when we are spreading misinfo and what kind of misinfo we are spreading. So, when we spread misinfo on this content creation platform, I believe YouTube needs to be reformed in such a way that it will actually identify where and when the misinfo happened, and timestamp it exactly as it would for a copyright strike. If a timestamping system is available for copyright maneuvers, then why the fuck is it not available for medical misinfo? I imagine that all of the same aspects are at play, except for the fact that, wouldn't you know it, it's easier for a bot to recognize when a song is playing than a lie is being said. But I bet you YouTube relies on bots for more of the human reviews than they let on. And this is a way for them to continue to skirk that responsibility to its creators. My strike is not important. However, it's not just a me thing. There have been creators on this platform that have received multiple back-to-back strikes because of broken systems that YouTube has when it comes to sending in mass reports on a channel, when it comes to reporting for misinformation that isn't there, or when it comes to the bots randomly striking. There are people who have been struck for videos they did 8 years ago when the rules they were working under were different rules than the rules that exist now. This is a thing in YouTube that needs to change. Razor Sharp Gaming, thank you very much for the subscription. Stuff like this is disheartening to new content creators. Hopefully we can get them fixed up soon. I hope so too. I would like to live in a world where YouTube gets their shit together, but I don't think they're going to. Yeah, YouTube subscribes to security through secrecy. They don't want people to game their systems. And I get that. But only to a degree. there's a point where that secrecy creates a hostile work environment for the people who are working under them, for the people who are 1099 under them, like me and every other paid YouTuber on this platform. BPVT, thank you for the subscription. Said, hi, Suris. I understand your frustration with YouTube, but try not to be too mean to the customer support there. They're just spewing bullshit policy they've been given. Unfortunately, if they are the only person that I can talk to, then they're going to get the brunt of my Karening. I could have been incredibly rude in these conversations. I could have called the individual customer support agents completely useless. I did not. But I understand where you're coming from, and I want to agree with you. It would help to have access to the internal team, the people who actually made these decisions. But, that said, unfortunately, that's where I have to end this saga for now. I'm not going to be having a repeat conversation with YouTube as far as I know, and if for some reason I do have another one, then another video will be made in this particular saga of episodes. But for the time being, I think I'm just going to have to let it rest. Apparently they can't escalate my issue, and they can't give me any information. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. And if you want to support the channel, there's always subscribing. And there's always Patreon. But as always, everyone, insert end the video tagline here.